Hello everyone, Anita here, and this is day 8 of the 30-day sketchbook challenge. Today I was a little bit tired. I have to say I didn't know exactly what I wanted to draw. I mean, it's understandable, it's been a few days already, and when you're drawing in a sketchbook for fun, it's a bit different than when you're drawing for a challenge. But on the other hand, I wasn't drawing in the sketchbook at all for a very long time, so I have to go back into like a rhythm, I suppose. I still enjoy it a lot, so at least that much. I just wasn't really inspired by anything, and I didn't know what I wanted to draw. Before we start, to talk about the idea I've had after a while, I want to apologize for the quality of this video. The lighting is a little bit uneven. I don't know, my camera just did not want to cooperate. It's just I don't know how to fix this. This camera does what it wants. There is no setting that makes it read. It just has this some kind of auto adjustment, even though everything is set on manual. And it will, even though the light never changes, nothing changes. It will still change from light to dark and back again, just without any reason. So I can't really do anything about it, and the only thing I can do is, kind of adjust it in editing. So that's the disclaimer for today. So as you can see, if you can see, because, when I'm drawing with a blue pencil, it's a little bit light, a little bit. I'm actually drawing crystals today. I've purchased my first crystal just recently. I'm still waiting for it to arrive, and I'm so excited. I just couldn't, I couldn't contain the excitement. So that's why I decided to draw crystals. And when I was drawing the crystals, I've started them a little bit higher than I wanted to. And as I was going downwards, I figured, why not make a house? Why not make like a mound where the crystals are growing from, and then make a little door, just make it seem like it's a house, like it's some place where someone is maybe living. On the sides of here, as you can see, I'm putting in some grass, trying to blend it downwards a little bit with that one. I didn't want to add that teal color that I would normally use, which is a little bit lighter than the green. So I try to blend it in to the paper with colored pencil. It wasn't bad, but as you can see on the sides, I have those little dots and swirlies. I've seen recently a picture of this very interesting moss, and it had all those like little balls growing out of tiny weeny stems, and I don't know, I remembered that. I wanted to incorporate it somehow, so that's what that is. It's just random moss balls, I suppose. And then I still wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do with the crystals, how I wanted to shade them, because I'm kind of limited in what I can use. Because crystals, I usually shade them with 2 different colors and light colors that blend nicely together. And here, normally if I would approach that kind of topic, that kind of subject, I would start doing it with watercolor. But when I'm limited, since I can't use watercolor in the sketchbook and I'm limited to markers and colored pencils, I don't have such a variety to fill the crystals as how I would like them to. And I didn't want to use only colored pencils because, of course, with colored pencils, it's much easier to not have the nice blend. But I wanted to have that nice, rich color of the Copic. So I was kind of struggling. So that's why I'm really working on the other details first, the base, let's say, of the crystals. And so I've just drew in the stones around the mound, kind of trying to make it look like it's grounded. And I've used for that as well, like mix of the Copic and the colored pencil, because at that time I already had kind of like an inkling that perhaps I could do the same thing with the crystals. So start with a base color, and then blend the rest with colored pencil. And I really wanted to use 2 colors, but when I was putting in this this, let's call it peach color. I've realized it's a really dark color and much darker than I wanted it to. And also I actually really liked how it blended into the paper. I really liked how it looked like it was actually a crystal that was transparent at the top. And I kind of decided to just keep that idea of the tops being transparent. I really wanted to have a darker background. That's one of my curses, because I always make such complete illustrations. I do not leave plain backgrounds. I have to have something in the background, some color, some motif. Is a motif? Oh, that's a Dutch word. That's not a good word. Let's say some kind of pattern, something just going on in the background. And so I was struggling here because I do not have actually anything to have like a dark background, to make a dark background with. So I didn't know how to approach it. That's why I'm concentrating first. I was thinking, okay, you know what? One step at a time. I'm concentrating first on blending in the crystals as good as I could. And it's coming out nicely. At this point I was really happy, and actually there was not even one moment when I was unhappy with the crystals. At some point I started coloring it differently than I finished, because I started coloring them from just top, like I would normally do, from top to bottom. But then I realized that if I don't have other color, it kind of looks silly if the whole crystal bottom, the bottom of the crystal, crystal bottom, if the whole bottom of the crystal is completely filled with color. There should be like a line on the outside, just because it's a transparent crystal, where the crystal will be a little bit thinner, it would be white, because that's the color of the background. So at some point I just started concentrating the color more in the middle of the crystal, leaving the edges white. And but it also helped me to have more of a space depth in the crystals. As you can see, they are much more visible. Even though there are so many crystals overlapping, they're much more visible. And then I actually came in with this darker colored pencil. It's kind of like the same color as the peach, just darker. It's a lighter shade of this orangey brown, reddish orangey brown. It's a very weird color. It's not exactly brown, it's not exactly orange. It's kind of a copper color. Very, very suitable for this particular picture. I loved it. And so I'm outlining all the crystals with that colored pencil, because I really didn't want to add anything in the background. I knew I couldn't add, because the background, if I added it, it would be dark, so that the crystals could pop. And I didn't want to, so I tried to do my best and not add any color to the background, so that I had to make the crystals pop on their own. That's why. And as you can see here, I'm adding the same color to the top, kind of trying to blend that colored pencil with the Copic. That's the idea I had from the beginning, same as the grass and the mound. And here I'm adding a little bit more of that Copic just to blend it into the mound. I don't know why I'm calling it a mound, just so that it kind of completes and connected, because there was this white space that just made it look very separate, like it was a part of a different picture. And then I'm just fiddling. I really like adding my pencil lead, the blue pencil lead that I'm using for sketching. I love adding it on top of any kind of orangey and pink like colors or hues, or just any kind of that color family, let's call it like this. It adds a really nice shadow, and I absolutely love it. And that's why as you can see, I'm kind of fiddling. It's a lot of detailed work here because of the crystal. There's so many of them, so yeah. Then I'm adding a little bit of a sparkle in the middle. That's something I've done in one of my past digital illustrations, where I've added little crystal, like little sparkles in the middle of the crystal. And I remembered it when I was adding the shadows, I was like, oh, okay, I can use that too. I will add a little bit of that extra detail because I completely forgot to make the face facets of the crystal. So I just needed to add something to emphasize the crystalness of the crystals. And as you can see here, I'm actually adding a little bit of blue to the background. I gave up. And this Copic is almost dry. So I was really doing it slowly and very gently, trying to let the ink flow because, you know, as the Copic dries, the ink flow is very limited. But I actually am happy that I've added it because it makes the crystal pop a little bit more. Say whatever you want, but add something extra. And then I actually came with my white gouache, just because I'm running out of everything. I know how that sounds, but it's actually, I'm running out of everything. And my favorite, the Signo Broad White Gel Pen is almost empty as well. And because I had to use so much in this illustration, I just switched to gouache because it just was easier, I think, for me at that point. It just made sense. And I'm adding kind of like a net of white lines, trying to build up the sides of the crystal. I'm not gonna embarrass myself, but the sides of the crystal so that the crystal has more structure. And that's a good trick. I didn't really add any shadows afterwards, but it's fine. It's just a sketch. I'm liking it. It's a different way that I would normally do my crystals, and it worked. So I'm not exactly complaining here. I'm really happy with this painting. I felt like something more, let's call it environmental. I've been drawing a lot of characters, and I just felt like making a scene again. And I don't know, maybe I'm going to, the theme that I have to do for the 52-week challenge this week is adventure, and I'm really tempted to add more crystals everywhere. I don't know, it's a crystal week. It's just everything, my head is surrounded with crystals and Penny Dreadful. So, Victorian crystals, I suppose, that's going to be the theme. But I'm really happy how this one turned out. There was a little too much fiddling involved. I'm noticing that the time to complete every sketchbook illustration, it's not even a sketch anymore, it's an illustration, is extending. So that's something I have to be careful about. And that's it, guys. This is the final illustration. I'm happy with it. I have nothing else to add. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.